Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are. I'm in the corner now. Hi. I'm no
Look,
longer in the bottom.
I have to look at the
Cool.
stream to see. I
Yeah, wait for
see.
the stream.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we're starting a playthrough of Please Be Happy, and for a very, very rare time in this Tuesday thing, I'm not reading the narration at all. So I decided to put 1010 in a hot seat for this run.
Yep.
I don't know
Fun
how many.
fact.
Huh?
Fun fact: the art for this PNG is actually drawn by the director for this game. So
It
thumbs
fits.
fuck it up. It fits.
It really
Amazing.
does fit. But yeah. I guess we'll go around the room, introduce ourselves. My name's Nur, and holy shit, I have to pull up a character sheet now. And I voice Cello, Elijah, and Silver, the hedgehog.
Hi. Hi, my name is Santan Arsaid, and I'll be voicing Miho and doing the narration. That's weird to say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hello, I am Matcha of the Forest of Song, proprietor of the Costa Cup,
Oh
and I
my
voice
God.
Armand, Matcha, and Lena.
You'll see what he means by that.
I mean Cyrus.
My name is Moji, and I will be voicing Aspen, Pippa, and Tommy.
And I'm Brevi, and I'm gonna voice Juliet, Gwen, and Mr. Kid.
Yeah. So I know nothing about this game. 1010 is the expert for this one, but it's still gonna be a chat choice. I don't think we're on the rails for some choices, right? 1010.
Yes. I'll direct what I'm like. We're going with this.
Okay. Yeah. So
There's a very little choice, but chat can still do choices. I'll probably just say when it's okay.
okay.
Thumbs up.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah. We'll still like unless we get hit those parts where we like have to do something, we're still gonna be chat choice for this run. It's gonna be fun. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's loading. There we go.
Oh God, right. Shit.
Yeah, 1010. Get started. Chop chop.
Fog is settled over the forest, far from the villages and towns, and with it came silence. Birch trees shivered, pondering the weather, and dropped their leaves in fright. Streams bubbled unseen by man and babbled like the birds in the trees. In the middle of the forest was a grove, and in the middle of that grove was a log. It had been years since it had fallen, once one of the proudest trees around, and now in death was home to an abundance of life. A line of frantic ants ran to and fro. Mushrooms, cloud-like and pillowy, sprouted across one side like a footpath for fairies. Nearby, an old toad flopped contently in the mud. Oh my God, it's Brevi.
Oh my god.
Oh.
And
You didn't tell
inside,
us about this?
Yay!
and inside the deep, damp hollow of the tree, something slept. A traveler strolled into the grove. Their steps were slow and tired, and they spotted the log with relief. Like greeting an old friend. Weary from the day's journey, the traveler sat to take a rest. Whoosh! With a scrabbling of nails on rotten wood, a shadow bolted from inside the log to the tall grass nearby. The traveler watched the brush rustle as a faint patch of fur appeared within. Hello there, friend. I didn't mean to disturb you. They held their hand towards the grass, offering a piece of dried fish. At first, there was no reaction, and then... First a snout appeared, quivering as it tested the air. Then followed the rest of the fox, sleek and tawny, as she took several slow steps forward. And her amber eyes were alight with mistrust, but also with wild, wild curiosity. The stranger sat unfazed, their offering still outstretched. They dared to meet the fox's eyes, and in that glance felt something kindred. As the fox closed her jaws around the gift, a bond was made. Maybe we aren't so different, you and I. The traveler returned the next day, and the day after that. Each day they brought some treat for their new friend. Each day the fox's steps grew a little more trusting. One day, when the traveler arrived, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently. I'm voicing them. Hello, my friend. How have you been waiting? Have you been waiting long? The fox peered up at the traveler. Her amber eyes were warm and trusting. She accepted her gift of meat, gnawing at the traveler's feet then and there. The traveler sat, imprinting into their mind the feeling of the wood beneath them, the clean air around them, and the tender bond of companionship. Where is your home, little fox? Is it here in this grove? Or do you come to see me, too? Hand you a steak! This will be the last time, I'm afraid, because I'll be going home tomorrow. Home is such a small place compared to the rest of the world. Yet it's some place I can't wait to return to. I wish I could bring you with me, little friend. I wish that you could see the world too. Your home is all around me, though, isn't it? It's wherever the trees are, wherever the leaves fall. Little fox, perhaps it's you who's the more fortunate of the two of us. All too soon, it was time for the traveler to go. As they bade goodbye to the forest, and to the fox, and to the steak, they knew that they would not return, but that they would carry the memories and steaks with them always.
Oh wow, what a lucky fox.
The next day, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently. Chapter 1, A Foxes and Fables.
Fable.
Oh, bagels.
Bagels.
Fable.
Bagels. Oh, we got an achievement, guys. We've now docked on Wellington Skyport. Thank you for flying with Kiwi Airlines, and we hope to see you again.
Can you guess where we are? The intercom's announcement is muffled in the closet where I'm hiding, just like the clatter of the seatbelts and the chattering of passengers getting ready to disembark. I wiggle around impatiently, sore from crouching in here for... I don't even know how long it's been. Hours, for sure. The last few minutes always feel like they take the longest. A parade of footsteps begins to pass by outside my door. It's time. I listen carefully, waiting for a gap in the crowd. When it comes, I stand up and push the door open in a single movement. I give a wink to the shocked-looking lady that I stepped out in front of. She doesn't even have time to gasp before I'm out of her sight.
Yes.
Humans, they're always kind of slow. I nod at the smiling flight attendant as I pass her by, and then throw my hood up to cover my face. It's been a while since I last flew, but it doesn't seem like things have changed much. It's always been harder to sneak on than it is to sneak off. I follow the crowd to the end of the walkway to step onto the ground. After a long stretch, I take a deep breath and savor the fresh air after being stowed away for so long. Wellington Skyport, New Zealand, Kiwi Airlines. I made it! My breathless voice joins the pleasant hum of the skyport. A few clouds drift lazily overhead, almost within arm's reach. The sound of the waves rolling onto the shore is like a lullaby. It makes me want to burrow into the sand and take a nap. But I can't. First, I need to get out of here, and there's one more challenge ahead. Up ahead, the snaking line of passengers splits as people are funneled into a few security stations. While I'm too far back to hear what the guards are saying, it looks like they're examining a little booklet from each traveler before letting them pass. Humans sure like processes and procedures. I definitely don't have a booklet like that. Glancing around, I hope to find another way out. An open window would work, or even an unguarded exit. I'm pretty sneaky when I need to be. Unfortunately, it looks like the only way to leave is to go through security. Without any option to join one of the lines to prepare myself, I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. The line moves briskly as passengers are cleared one after the other, and I'm almost at the front of the queue before I know it. As the passenger in front of me approaches the booth, I listen closely. Wants to be a friendly guard.
Friendly guard?
Good afternoon, passport, please.
Right here. It's good to be home.
I'm sure. Welcome back.
She stamps something onto the man's booklet and then hands it back to him, and he continues out of the skyport.
Next.
That's me. I don't know that what they do to people without any papers, but I don't want to find out. I'm sure it involves lots of questions, being escorted around, and other unpleasant stuff. Casually approaching the gate, I put on my brightest, friendliest smile while keeping a slight distance. With my breathing steady and tail calm, I'm sure I put on a convincing act.
Passport, please!
Of course! I fumble around in my pockets, pretending to look for my passport. Instead, I grab a useless, clunky phone that I've been carrying around and let it clatter to the ground at the guard's feet. As expected, he bends down to retrieve it for me.
Oh, let me get that for you!
And I make a run for it, bolting ahead and rushing past the security booth as quickly as I can.
Yuck! Hey! You! Wait, get back here!
Goofy.
Wow, you're really stressed today, stress guard! We can get you we can go into that bar
What was
tonight.
that?
By the time they realize what's happened, I already have a few seconds head start. My inhuman speed, combined with the natural chaos of the skyport, should also buy me a bit of time. Still, I gotta get them off my tail.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Welcome to the map.
Map.
Dashing through the skyport doors and out of the road outside, I don't even have time to take in the city. Without stopping for breath, I run into the narrow streets while weaving between cars and shocked bystanders. Being seen by so many people like this is annoying, but it won't matter by tomorrow. Putting the thought out of my mind, I vault over a low wall into a nearby alley and land in a crouch. Out of sight, but only for a moment, I close my eyes and relax my muscles. All feeling disappears except a slight warmth against my neck. My secret weapon. The unremarkable looking necklace is only one of my possessions, and by far the most important. A certain one of the beads strung around my neck begins to heat up in response to my will, a soothing warmth flowing through my body. My hands and feet begin to morph first, the fur chasing up my arms and legs as they distort and shorten. This sensation was so bizarre the first few times I tried. It's amazing how it becomes second nature by now. Closing my eyes, I let my body and head shift and turn. The face is always a little uncomfortable, my once human face changing and lengthening into a snout with some difficulty. The process complete, after only a few seconds, I open my eyes not as a human, but as a fox.
Is this the Omegaverse?
No!
I dart away from that conversation without waiting.
No.
Far quicker on 4 legs than I ever could be on 2. Obstacles, like the stack of garbage cans ahead, would be a pain to get past as a human. But instead, I'm able to flip between the gaps without slowing down. No, this is Animorphs.
Whoa.
Hey, it's friendly garbage.
That's her! I know it! Yuck!
Sounds like Goofy hasn't given up on me yet. I pick up the pace, running as fast as my paws will take me. His heavy breathing gets farther and farther away, and in just a minute or two, I know I'm safe. I don't know where I am, but it's not like I knew where I was when I started running. I almost feel bad for the guy who was chasing me. He never stood a chance. Even in the crowded city streets, there's no way that anyone or anything can outrun me. The wind just wishes it could keep up with me. Okay, Sonic. Comfortable that the danger is past, I slip into another alley. Once I'm sure that I'm alone, I close my eyes and concentrate on the form I want to take once more. That familiar flowing warmth runs through me again, my body stretching and deforming at my command. A few seconds later, and I open my eyes to glance at my hands. Better luck next time. You're too slow. Brushing the dust off myself, I nonchalantly stroll out of the alleyway and back onto the street. The odd person walks by on this errand or another, not paying any attention to me, just the way I like it. Left, right, pass the turn, left. Mapping out my path in my head, I look for a way to the main roads. It'll be easier to get my bearings there. I pick turns at random, without any real destination in mind. When I decided to make a journey to Wellington, it was pretty impulsive. I'd overheard another pair of travelers talking about it and how beautiful a city it is. With a moment now to take in the scenery, I can see they weren't wrong. The streets around here seem like a mix of homes and businesses. Everything is very colorful. Even the brick walls are covered in pictures and paint. In the distance, I can see green hills. It's a zone that are lined with houses, as well as green hill zone that are completely empty. There are a lot of green hills, now that I look around some. From just a few streets away, the sound of pedestrians and busy intersections floats my way. I head in this direction, taking shortcuts through yards and driveways when it's convenient. In one lawn, a big dog growls at me as I walk past, but when I transform and growl right back, he tucks his tail and runs away. Dogs and I always have an understanding. After squeezing through one last narrow side street, I finally emerge onto what looks like a main road. There's no cars here, but tons of people on foot. There are brightly colored signs and decorations on most of the buildings. In the middle of the street, there are fountains and benches and trees and all kinds of stuff. The best part of the variety of stores. When I stroll past a few of the windows and peek in, I can already tell that I'll be around doing most of my shopping around here. There are stores with food, with clothes, and just about everything else. I don't have money on me, but that isn't exactly a problem. Ellipses. Double ellipses. Quadruple ellipses. What is a problem is that it's too crowded. Dodging a couple of security guards is one thing, but trying to escape down a busy street with lots of people could be too much even for me. I'll just have to remember where this place is and make another visit later. All the shops are closed. Then a man in a bright coat hurries past me, talking loudly on his phone in a language I don't recognize. He's so distracted that he doesn't even notice when his wallet falls out of his pocket and onto the sidewalk. I notice, of course. Seeing an opportunity, I zip over and snatch it up, prying open the black leather pockets. I find... Score! A couple of bills of what I figure is the local currency. I slide the money out and into my pocket of my jacket. By now, the man is so far ahead that he's almost out of sight. I have to hurry to catch up to him to give him back his wallet, and he barely even says thank you. I should have just kept the whole thing. It's only fair that I get a little something for myself, since it's not like he would have ever gotten it back without me. I head back to my bench and inspect my prize. Is that a blue bill and a brown one? Those feel sturdy, like nothing like the paper I expected. 1, 0, 10, and 5. So 15. 15 isn't much. I definitely should have just kept the whole wallet. Oh well, at least this should be enough to buy myself something to drink. My thirst is starting to get the better of me as I haven't had anything since I snuck onto the airship. Following my nose, I walk down the busy street until I find one of the many cafes lining the path. The sign hanging above it, the front door, has a picture of the bell on it. A charming bell rings out from above the door as I enter. I can't help but savor the wave of refreshing, cool air washing over me, which feels even better after so much running. Matcha.
Matcha? Uh-huh.
What will I use?
Oh my god.
Just imagine 2 milk. I guess.
Hiya! Welcome to the Bell House.
The barista behind the counter is the only other person in the store right now. As I nod in greeting, and she leans forward with a cup in one hand and a pen in her other.
What can I get you? We're having a special on apple. If you want to try one. Usually they're like $7, but today they're only 5.
I like
We don't have in stock. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what an affogato is. Isn't that a vegetable? Not wanting to commit to a strange sounding drink, I look at the menu instead. Unfortunately, it's full of handwritten, spindly letters. I can't read a single word, and there's no helpful pictures. Safe option it is. I'll just have a vanilla latte.
Boring, basic bitch. But okay. Name?
Mimo.
I'm gonna write, Mina.
It's my first time testing out that name, how that name sounds, and I decided I like it. I decided on the airship that it was the name I would use here in Wellington. I've used so many names throughout my life that I can't remember most of them. Each new city that I visit, I come up with something new, like an Atome game. Foxes don't have any use for names, so nobody ever gave me one. She scribbles something on the cup with a black marker, if that's how this name looks. Then I'm even more pleased with it.
It says Rachel. About 450, please.
I hand her the brown bill and she gives me back a big coin with a picture of a boat on it.
All right, I'll have this ready for you in no time. I'm sorry, it's been more than a second.
She sure seems enthusiastic. I nod as she spins around and starts working. Looking about somewhere to sit, I decide to on a seat by the window with the sun pouring in.
Hey, you're not supposed to spill that! Stop!
Near the entrance of the Cafe Enchanté, there is a wire rack with a stack of maps and tourist pamphlets. So I grab one of the maps and look at Bestia.
Okay.
Cafe Enchanté is big and bright, with plants everywhere. They're on the walls, on the floor, and on the ceiling. Most of them are real and vibrant, obviously being well cared for. Even the lights that hang down from the ceiling have glass ornaments with little shrubs on them.
They even
Oh, I
have
love
piles
that.
of steak everywhere. Wow.
Yo, get that vanilla extract! Tumblr wants more!
Seems like I made a good choice coming here. Any place with a bit of nature in it is more comfortable to me than places without. I guess I should find a place to stay. Looking down to the map I took, I trace a path from the port to this cafe. It's useful, but it doesn't really tell me anything helpful about the houses in particular. I'll need to find a higher vantage point. I move my finger along the hills I notice from outside, following the little brown path to a patch of green with a little mountain icon. That should work for now.
Rachel?
My ears perk up right as the barista arrives and places my drink in front of me. Thanks. I reach
Glad I
over
got
and
your
take the
name
warm
right.
cup in my hand, but the barista doesn't let go.
You ready for the rain tomorrow?
Huh?
It's gonna rain tomorrow,
Oh,
and you're gonna
I,
die.
I glance behind me out the window. It's as sunny and as blue as a day as I've ever seen. I glance. How do you know that? There aren't any clouds out there.
I'm just good for. Oh, wait, I'm just good with the weather anyway. If you forget, then you'll be sorry.
That's so
She
creepy.
finally lets go of my drink and heads back to the counter. People are weird. Does the barista pull that on everyone? Standing on the doorstep, I have my first sip. Oh, this is really good. I just have a drink here. It's pretty plain but well made. The coffee isn't too bitter, which is perfect for me. With a moment to myself, my thoughts turn inwards as I sip the warm drink. My drink is cold. My first travels were in search of someone, but despite my whole life being spent trying, I haven't made any progress in finding them. So I've taken to simply wandering, going wherever I wish at the time. I've been itching for a change of scenery anyway, so I snuck onto the first airship that I could. The best part about owning nothing but the clothes on my back is that I could pick up and leave wherever I feel like it. Girl, have you done laundry?
Girl?
I take a moment to get my bearings and look around. I see a tired looking person shuffling along the far footpath with a briefcase in their hand. They stop outside one of the buildings, take a deep breath, and pat their face a couple times, and then go inside. Good luck, buddy. They must not be looking forward to whatever's going to happen in there. You might have to fight someone. Huh?
A video was playing.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Sorry.
Which video was it? Because I can't fucking see it.
It was a Starian.
No. Wait, I never seen it. God damn it. Through the large glass windows of another store, a fawn is trying on a pair of shoes, but they don't seem to fit her hooves. The people waiting with her look annoyed. I wonder she fusses around with her footwear a lot. For a while, I simply let the day roll by and watch the various figures who stroll by. People watching is fun, especially in such a busy city. Eventually, I go to sip my coffee, only to find nothing coming out. With no more reason to stick around, it's time to go. On the sunless street, I look about to match where I can see the map's directions. There's a tall green mountain in the distance ahead of me, which must be the one on the map. It'll be a perfect vantage point for the city. Ideally, I'll find an empty building I can crash in, but it's not necessary. A roof over my head would be nice, but I'm plenty used to sleeping outside under the stars. Sometimes it's better than sleeping in a bed. Encouraged by the plan forming in my head, I set off on a long walk to the summit.
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 The path to the mountain turns out to be less simple than the map made it look. First, the trail takes me along the waterfront, and then it turns upwards through a small forested area. Being among the trees and their tall shadows makes me feel at home. When the path leaves the woods again, I'm a little disappointed. It leads up a paved road, so I stick to the edge and avoid passing cars. Sometimes I take shortcuts through yards or up unmarked paths. There are quite a few nice-looking homes right along the roadside. I make a mental note to go check them out when I'm low on money or food. Not much further along, a concrete lookout offers another glimpse of the city below. A couple airships are coming into dock at the skyport, probably from one of the other floating islands. There's still a ways to go to the top of the mountain, but luckily the walk has been easy so far. I wouldn't even consider it a hike. Eventually, I reach the final stretch of road. I could see where it curves ahead to the summit, and I hurry to the end. A metal railing spreads out like a crown on the top of the mountain. As I go to toss my empty cup away, a pair of chatting tourists pass me by.
How far is it from here?
Oh, about an hour from the base of Mount Victoria, so a bit further from here.
Mount Victoria. I'm glad to know what this place is called. I say the name out loud to help commit to a memory. Standing at the edge, I am treated to a wonderful view of Wellington. The city forms a crescent moon shape around the bay, which glitters like a sapphire from up here. The sun is starting to set, and that makes the water even more shimmery. Even more airships can be coming and going. I think that I can even see the edge of the floating island we're on, miles out in the open sky. I survey the city, using the skyport as a reference point. From up here, what felt like such a long chase really doesn't look far at all. If I strain my eyes, I think I can even see the coffee shop from earlier. What was the barista said it was called? The Bell House? It's kind of tough to make out details. My hearing and sense of smell may be great, but my eyes aren't that much better than a human's. Then I noticed something useful.
Look, is that voice?
Probably. What do you see from there, kiddo?
I see Dad's car.
Why is he pulling into somebody else's driveway?
Wait, where's he going?
That is Jessica's house. Look.
Not too far away, there is a little kid who's using a pair of metal tubes attached to a post. His mom is helping him aiming at the city. It must be something that improves your vision. The moment the kid and his mom leave, I hurry over. They were crying for some reason, before someone else can get to them first. When I press my eyes to the same spot as the child did, though, all I can see is black. I try moving it around, but it doesn't change. Is this thing busted? Some text is printed on the side. I have no idea what it says. There's a small slot, though, with a picture of a coin next to it. Lucky for me is the coin that has a 50 on it. I put the coin that I received from the barista in the slot and spin a lever. The machine eats my coin, and then when I put my eyes to it again... Yes! Everything looks much closer now. Even the trees on the other side of the hill appear in crystal clear detail, like I'm standing right next to them. I aim the viewing glasses at the city and look around, trying to find a good place to rest for the night. Houses are a no-go, even if they look empty or abandoned. You can never let your guard down for a minute. Same with most shops. I don't have enough money for a hotel, and I won't risk sneaking into one of those either. As I'm studying the sights, trying to memorize as much as I can, there's a clicking sound, and once again, the view goes black. Stupid machine. I smack it a couple times and check again, but I still can't see anything. Well, whatever. Looks like I'm sleeping outside tonight. Guess this place is as good as any. I head back down the trail a little bit and veer off of it into the underbrush.
Underbrush.
Undertow, return the undertow.
What?
Not perfect, but it'll do. It's not exactly the wilderness, but just about everything around here seems cityfied to some extent. Usually when I make a den, I prefer to find a place far from other people, a place where nobody will find me. I don't find anything perfect, but this is good enough. It's fine. Can't afford to be picky. Once the trail was out of sight, I transform again. My neck gets warm as my bead activates, and a few seconds later, I'm on all fours. As a fox, the sensations of nature are much stronger. The earth beneath my paws is cool and refreshing, and the breeze whips through my tails like a massage. I hurry down a hill covered in grass so tall that it reaches way over my head. I smell fresh water and follow the scent to a small stream where I'm able to quench my thirst. I guess it's just as satisfying as the drink that I got at that cafe in Shantae, but in a different way. And being able to slurp up water is way more enjoyable than having to use a straw, or worse, one of those lids with the tiny holes. For a little while, I follow my nose to some berries and some edible plants that'll do for a snack. Unfortunately, unlike the water, foraging is never as satisfying as eating human food. If I want a real meal tonight, then I should pick up the pace before it gets too late. Still, I want to get this done now while there's still daylight. I keep close to the stream and search for a place where the ground is soft. Before too long, I find a promising area, a small valley with hills on most sides and thick foliage on the others. I'm still close enough to civilization to hear cars and other city noise, but the area I'm in doesn't seem like it gets visited very often. At the very least, it doesn't really smell like people. The spot that I settle on is a nice mound of earth, water. What? Mound of earth near the edge of the woods, partially hidden by a tall tree with low hanging leaves. Even if no one comes by, it makes me feel better knowing that I'll be out of sight. How does Nerd do this for hours? And so,
Yeah, I know, right?
I start to dig. My claws rip away at the dirt as I burrow downwards, widening the tunnel just enough for my sleek frame to fit. Remember, kids, don't dig straight down in Minecraft.
No.
First, I dig forward and then downwards, widening out an area that's big enough for my whole body to fit. There is something I've been doing my whole life, even back when I was just a regular fox. I think that's why I don't mind it too much. Compared to sleeping inside somewhere, it just feels right to me. Yay. A
Yay.
burrow. It takes a little while, and by the time I'm finally finished, the first few stars have started to peek out from the sky. I shake myself clean of the dirt that sticks to my coat and then transform back into my human form. Spread this here, a couple of branches there, some leaves there, a stake here. I walk around the valley a bit, checking from different angles. Not bad for just an afternoon's work. If you weren't looking for it, I don't think you'd ever notice anything out of place. All that digging has made me work up an appetite, and not the kind that'll be satisfied with just a few berries. Ugh, I'm so hungry. I haven't had a real meal since yesterday. My stomach rumbles painfully. I've been so busy since arriving in Wellington that I kind of forgot just how hungry I was. I'll grab some human food back in town. Casting one last glance at my afternoon's work, I set off towards the city. Work never ends. Time to get some food.
Food.
Oh,
I'm a bit disappointed when I finally get back from the busy street from before. I was hoping it would be emptier now and that all the stores would be closed. Turns out I was half right. A lot of the shops have gone dark for the evening, but there are just so many people walking around there as there were earlier. In fact, there might be even more. The patio of a restaurant has a bunch of tables full. A mermaid is sitting in a fountain I sat by earlier, chatting with a cyclops. Even the cafe that I visited is crowded now, with a line almost out the door. After pacing up and down the road for a while, I sit down and try to figure out what to do next. I'm not too worried about what would would happen if I got caught stealing. I'd just escape, obviously, and even if they managed to catch me, it wouldn't be an issue for very long. See, there's something different about me that makes me extra good at being a thief. It's not just the skills I've practiced over the years, like picking locks and sneaking around. No, it's just a bit more special than that. Without fail, every single person I meet forgets about me by the next day. I don't know why, but I don't really care either. It's magic, that's all I know about it. Really useful magic. Everywhere I go, no matter how careless I am, all of my problems are solved by the next day. That doesn't mean there's no danger. I've been caught in the act before, beaten or harassed before I can manage to get away. I even lost a few prizes that I stole fair and square because I had to get going in a hurry. But if someone sees me but isn't able to stop me, I know that I'll be home free. Sure, they might remember having something stolen, but they'll never know who did it. It almost makes things too easy. Right now, it would be smarter to just come back even later in the dead of night and hope that there are no people around. I'd be able to take my time browsing without having to worry about making a quick escape. Ellipses. Double ellipses. Quadruple ellipses! Where's the fun in that, though? Fucking yo. I walk casually up and down the street, glancing into the windows without being too obvious about it. Some stores still have customers inside, others have locked their doors and shut off the lights. Most of the restaurants are still open and are only making me hungrier. Stealing from the restaurants is a bit much even for me, though. I've tried it before, but the cluttered kitchens as well as all the tables and chairs make it hard to get around. Plus, I've learned the hard way that there's plenty of hot or sharp things for angry cooks to throw at you as you try to make your way out. Instead, packaged and pre-made foods are my best friends, things that I can grab multiples of at once and stuff into my pockets. If I'm really lucky, I'll find a place with refrigerated sandwiches or salads, or sometimes perfectly good hot food that gets thrown out. You wouldn't believe the kind of stuff that's available for you if you don't mind sifting through the trash for a little bit. It's not ideal, of course, but a hot meal is a hot meal. I know plenty of foxes who've eaten much worse. Target spotted. It's perfect. A small convenience store, snacks lined up behind the front window. Even better, the shops on the other side are closed too, so there's not many people in the area. Locked, huh? Not surprising. I head down a nearby alley and find the back door, which is probably where they bring in new products. The alleyway is dark to begin with, and my dark clothes help me hide even better. I glance around the alley, glad like always for my excellent night vision. Nobody's watching. Nobody's even around. I pull my hood over my ears and tuck my tail between my legs, leaning against the sturdy door. To anyone not looking, I'm sure I appear as nothing more than a Shadow the Hedgehog. I dig around in my pocket until I find my trusty lockpick, and then set to work on the door. It isn't a complicated lock at all, just a regular keyhole. With a click, the latch springs open just a few short moments later. Bingo. Huh? I try to tug the door towards me, but there's a chain on the inside that keeps it from opening very wide. There's no way a human could fit through the gap, but it would be easy for a fox. First, I slink away for a bit, idling on the nearby street, just like a regular pedestrian. I wait to see if anyone shows up, just in case I triggered our silent security system. After about 10 minutes, I decide it's safe. I transform under the cover of darkness in the alley and slip into the building before transforming back. The shop isn't very big, and the receiving area is just a small hallway with a few boxes of soda and candy bars on the floor. I grab a couple of my favorites and shove them into my pockets. When I creep into the main area, I make sure to stay low to the ground, trying to avoid being seen from outside. Not exactly hidden, but as long as I don't stand up, I shouldn't attract anyone's attention. Whee! I move fast, cramming as much of my coat as I can. Cookies, protein bars, popcorn. I'm not very picky. When my coat starts to feel pretty heavy, I grab a plastic bag from behind the counter, transfer some of my loot into there. I also take a few bottles of water and sports drinks from the coolers. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a few of those coveted plastic wrapped sandwiches that I was thinking about earlier. Jackpot. Dante. I fill my bag with sandwiches until it's almost overflowing, and then I head back out the way I came in. In total, I was in and out in about under 5 minutes, and I've got enough supplies to last me several days. When I step into the alley, I glance around in both directions, making sure no one saw me emerge from the store. I don't see anyone, but my neck prickles as if somebody is watching me. I sniff the air, but don't notice anything out of the ordinary. Nothing that wasn't there before. Still. Suddenly, there's a flap of wings, and a bat flutters past me from out of the shadows. It goes right above my head and disappears from sight up the street. Oh, that's it. A bat. I let out a breath I've been holding and start making my way back towards the mountain where I made my den. I let the bag swing from my arm as I walk, whistling a song I heard earlier. I'm not able to keep a smile off my face. All in all, not a bad first day. I got a nice rest, food to spare, and plenty of places to explore tomorrow. There have been plenty of days in my life where I had none of those things. I unwrap one of the sandwiches that I grab and take a big bite. Nothing beats the taste of hard work. I hope Wellington continues to treat me well while I'm here. So tired. I'm gonna sleep so well tonight. I unpack everything that I got from the store, as well as my treasures that I always carry with me, my lockpick, my wallet, a few pretty stones. The only thing that I leave in my jacket is a small scroll. Can't get that damaged or dirty. I change back to a fox and then dig another hole near the entrance to my den. This one's much simpler and shallower, and I bury some of the snacks that I stole before covering them back up with dirt. Not like anyone's gonna come by and swipe my things, but better to safe than sorry. I stole this myself, after all. Don't want to be stolen from me. Stuff like my pen and my favorite rock go into the burrow with me, since I like having them close by. Once I got everything where it belongs, I climb into the hole myself, turning a few circles before settling down with my tail wrapped around me. From here, I have a perfect view of the stars. I look up at the clear night sky through the mouth of the tunnel. I feel bad for all the people way down in the underworld, like Hades. Can they even see the stars from there? I've never been to the underworld, so I have no idea. I can't imagine falling asleep without them. Comfortable and safe, I close my eyes and quickly slip off to dreamland. I don't actually remember that CG.
Oh,
I
it's
thought you were the
new. We
expert.
added it just
I
now.
wake up to trouble, or at least a threat. I'm sure it's only morning as I peer out the burrow's entrance, but the sky is already dark and foreboding. My attention moves from the ominous rain clouds above to the trees outside my den, their branches shaking in the strong breeze. I can't believe that girl from the cafe in Shantae was right. Every cafe is cafe on Shantae now.
Oh no.
I climb up
Oh.
the tunnel and out to the open, sniffing the air. It just tells me what I already know. A storm is coming, honey, and fast. But also, another scent plays on my nose, one so faint that I almost brush it off before taking another smell. Surely I'm wrong. There's no way that... Lowering my snout to the ground, I investigate the area and then decide that I'm right. I change into my human form and look around. Someone's been here. Yes, someone's definitely been here, but this scent isn't a human's. It's vaguely familiar, but at the same time, it's not like anything I recognize. And it definitely wasn't here when I went to sleep. They must have come here in the night and stopped right outside my den. Were they watching me sleep? Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh,
Ew.
crap.
Ew.
God, what are you, Edward Cullen?
Ew.
As a fox, I dive back into my hole to make sure everything is still there. My heart pounds in my chest, but nothing appears to be missing. Thank you, Mon. I also checked the spot where I buried my stash from last night, but that hasn't been disturbed either. I breathe a sigh of relief. If any of my stuff had been stolen, I'd be so mad. But that still doesn't answer the question of what they did want, and that's even more concerning. I'm a pretty light sleeper, and usually the slightest sound of motion will wake me up. So if someone was able to sneak up on me, even I have to be impressed. Impressed and a little worried. I got a more pressing issue right now, though. I stare up at the sky in disappointment. Ugh, I hate the rain. I would have found a different place to make my nest and hide my supplies if I had known this would happen. Instead, both burrows Will probably just be piles of mud by the end of the day. I should have found a place with a roof after all. I fill my pockets with most of my important possessions and some of the food that I grabbed last night. Everything else I wrap as tightly as in plastic bags as I can and bury them in the den. Hopefully I can find somewhere fast and then move everything else over before it gets ruined. An abandoned house would be perfect, or some other place where I'd be able to hide. After finishing packing it up, I'm just about to get going when a loud flapping sound overheard catches my attention. I expect it to be a bird, but instead it's yet another bat.
Edward? My God.
Look at that
Oh, look at that bat!
bat! This one is
Right.
even bigger than the one I saw last night. Its wings are way longer and noisier. I can even hear it squeaking as it flies past. Some people say bats and foxes are similar. I don't see it. I watch it fly around for a little bit before it takes off towards the city. Maybe it knows somewhere to stay. Guess I'll follow it for now. Yes, follow the bat.
Yeah.
A couple times it disappears between the trees or just too far ahead, but I always manage to catch back up. Eventually we're out of the woods and back into civilization, where a car whizzes right past me. There's a sidewalk here, and other people walking around. Most of them look up at the sky nervously, though, and everyone seems to be in a hurry. Guess I'm not the only one looking to get away from the rain. After finishing packing it up, I'm just about to get going when a loud flapping sound overhead catches my attention. Wait. I expected it to be a bird, but instead it's yet another bat. More people seem to be going in the direction I was headed than anywhere else, so I stick to that. By now, my winged guide is almost out of sight again. Just a little black speck in the sky flying into the distance. Farther up this road, there's a slope that leads up to a big, fancy-looking building. It doesn't look like a shop or a restaurant, but at least not one that I've ever seen. But there's so many people going in and out that it has to be open to the public. That's good enough for me. That'll give me somewhere dry to spend some time, and maybe I can learn something useful. Plus, places like this usually have plenty of valuables inside. If I'm lucky, I might be able to find something to fund my next few days. After all, the bigger the target, the less likely they are to notice something's missing. Thank God I have 2 cups of water. A sturdy oak door isn't as heavy as it looks, a firm push being enough to heave it open. Gingerly stepping inside and out of the rain, I'm greeted by books. Lots of books. Books on shelves, books on tables, books on the floor, books everywhere. The place even smells of musty old paper, and the dozen or so people inside are mostly leafing through pages in the aisles. The odd silence about the building is striking given how many are around. It doesn't look like a shop, so I assume this must be a library. I've heard of them, but I've never been in one. No point, since I can't read and all. But it's warm and cozy and very dry, so it'll do just fine. There's a desk near the entrance with a computer on it that I assume where I'd check in. It's unattended, which is good for me. I take a seat in the empty chair nearby and sit back just to observe for a bit. There are plenty of people, but it's not too busy. Lots of empty, unwatched spaces. Most folks seem to be here alone or in small groups to keep to themselves. There's not much conversation going on, and what there is all whispered. Nobody gives me a second glance, which is a good sign. It means I'm probably not breaking any rules by just being here. Behind the desk, there's a hallway leading deeper into the building, and I peek around the corner to see what's back there. All I can see is some shut doors and at the very back, a staircase. After glancing around to make sure no one's watching, I sneak down the hall and try a couple of the doors. Ellipses. Double ellipses. Can you guess what's next? Quadruple ellipses!
Wow.
All of them are locked.
Man, she thinks in ellipses.
I could probably pick them if I wanted to. No sense trying to do that now, though. Is there anything more valuable around? An antique clock or vase would be perfect. Ellipses. Double ellipses.
Oh.
This alley is almost all books. Books and small trinkets that look pretty worthless. Not even worth the trouble of stealing. At least it's got a roof. I do spot a couple promising items, like a set of old coins and memorize their locations. I do spot I wander back to the main area where I came in. Outside, it hasn't started raining yet, but it's only a matter of time. The wind is loud and gusty, and even opening the door is enough to make me shiver. If nothing else, I could probably wait out the rain here, but my poor abandoned snacks back at the den. What a waste. Can't do anything about it now. I should keep looking around. I move slowly through the area, never going beyond what seems to be the public area. I pretend to inspect a few books, taking them off the shelves and flipping through the pages, but I'm actually mapping out the place in my head. Doors, windows, and potential places to hide, things like that. Most of the time, this kind of info is unnecessary. It's been at least a few decades since I had to make a dramatic escape from anywhere. At this point, plotting an escape route is just habit. Overall, I like what I'm seeing. Even with the locked doors and off-limits hallways, there are a lot of nooks and crannies that would make good hiding spots, especially as a fox. From the thick dust that coats a lot of these areas, I can tell though they don't get a lot of visitors. If I'm careful, I might be able to go a whole week or even more without being noticed. As long as I can get in and out of the building easily, that is. And with the huge windows that line the back wall, that seems easy enough too. I weave around a couple shelves that are taller than I am, heading for the far back corner. I peer around the corner just of the last aisle just to make sure I'm alone. Ellipses.
Oh.
Double ellipses.
Oh. Yeah!
Quadruple ellipses!
Yeah.
Woo! But I'm not. And
Ah!
Aspen. At the small table at the window sits a woman with a small book in her hand, resting against her fingers. She's perfectly still, but mouths the words on the page as she reads, like she's tasting them instead of just seeing them. Her expression has a distant look of someone way off on their own world, far away from this one. She looks so at peace that I think she must belong in that other world. She's beautiful and elegant in the same way as a painting, with the light from the window shining on her like a display. I duck back behind the bookshelf, pressing one hand to my racing heart. My other bumps one against the other books on the shelf, and it falls with a dusty thump.
Huh?
Cursing my clumsiness, I silently back away in case she decides to investigate, but she doesn't even leave her chair.
I suppose it's nothing.
She turns and gazes out the open window. At what? I don't know. A moment later, she returns to her book and leaves this world again. I stay hidden, my face still burning a little bit. Yes, I think this will be the perfect place to spend some time. Gay as fuck.
Yay.
Suddenly, there's a much louder boom than the one I caused. As thunder rumbles outside, a few people look around the library, startled at the sound and look around. Sighing, the girl in the chair pulls the window beside her closed, the first drops of rain falling out a minute later. I'll investigate the windows later. Right now, I don't want to bother her, so I head back to one of the plush chairs on the other side of the library and take a seat. I could be here a while, depending on how long the rain lasts, so I might as well get comfy. I find a few books that have more pictures than words and curl up in one of the soft chairs to flip through them. There aren't as many of those ones, so I go through the stack pretty fast. It takes long enough for the rain to start, though. The longer I read, the louder the pounding of the rain and the howling of the wind become. Guess it's not letting up anytime soon. I can't complain, though. This library is pretty cozy by my usual standards. It's warm and safe, and nobody tells me to go away. I even have snacks! More than once, I get up and walk around the library again, even though I've got most of it memorized by now. I take note of things like a child stuffed toy that's lying on the floor in one section, or the thin blanket that's stuffed between a bookshelf and the wall. On my third or fourth trip around, I finally find something I've been looking for. In one of the far corners, totally opposite from where I saw the reading girl earlier, there's a single chair and a small table. On the wall nearby is a portrait, the painting itself of a girl with light brown hair, but I barely pay any attention to that. What I'm interested in is the frame. It's lovely. It looks like it might be out of gold. It certainly shines like it. It's carved intricately into the shape of waves flowing up and down. That's gotta be worth something. I pretend not to pay much attention to it as I make my way back to my table. There are too many other people around for me to be able to try to sneak it out. It's too big to fit under my jacket without being obvious. It's like as tall as you, Miho. That just means I'll have to come back some other time. Maybe once this place is closed. The hours pass by and the storm continues. I'm kind of disappointed about losing a whole day, especially so soon after arriving, but it's not like I'm in any sort of hurry. I pat one of my pockets, feeling the familiar and reassuring weight of the paper scroll that's tucked away there. The scroll is the only thing close to a purpose that I have, and it's not particularly urgent. Or at least, I don't have any way to deal with it faster. Ellipses.
Oh.
Double ellipses.
Woo!
Quadruple ellipses. I spent a long time reading. It's almost afternoon when I go and check the windows again, but the rough weather outside continues. At this rate, I'll be sleeping in a puddle of mud tonight. Pretty good band. Unless...
Less.
A quick check shows that a lot of the other library patrons have left. It's not empty, but it's not nearly as full as earlier. Guess some of them decided it was worth braving the rain. Looking as nonchalant as I can, I get from my seat and pretend to browse again, slowly moving through the shelves. The reading girl is gone now, although she's not what I was looking for. Instead, I pick up the dropped toy and blanket that I spotted earlier, and then head to one of the out-of-the-way hiding spots I picked out before. It's on the floor, between a shelf and a wall, where is a bit of carpet to help it make it softer. Even better, it's between the two corner shelves, meaning that it's practically out of sight if you're not looking for it. She's like me for real, for real.
Oh my god.
I wriggle my way between the furniture and lie down, using the toy as a pillow and draping the blanket over me. I toss and turn a few times before finally settling down.
Just like 10-10.
Yep. Not bad at all.
That's why you wanted the voice her, wasn't it?
Hee
Go sleep on the floor.
Even though I haven't done much today, I'm always down to take a nap. I could pass a few hours by sleeping, wake up when it's dark, and grab that picture frame and be on my way. I have to rebuild my den once I get back, but that's a problem for future me. I yawn, staring up at the ceiling until my eyes get heavy. Maybe today won't be a total waste after all. I can take a sip of my fucking drink.
Haha.
The soft sound of cloth rustling wakes me from a dreamless sleep. How did someone sneak up on me twice now? I don't know how long it's been. The sky outside has darkened significantly, and now the stars twinkle outside the window. There's no time to react as the sound comes closer. I hear no footsteps, but suddenly a woman steps into view. Her clothes are pure white, making her stand out like a ghost in the dark library. Her cape rustles again as she reaches towards one of the shelves. One of the shelves I'm hiding behind, to be precise. Gingerly, she moves 2 books to the side and then slides another book into the space she created. She handles them like precious treasures that might break if she's too rough. I stay perfectly still, afraid to even breathe in case she notices me. My heart beats wildly as she slowly and deliberately looks over the shelf, examining their titles before taking a book from the second lowest row. Though the gap she creates in the shelves, our eyes meet in the darkness. Oh no. I tense up as she steps around the shelving between us to get a better look at me, preparing myself to leap away if the need arises. The carefully memorized layout of the library flashes through my mind as I frantically plot the best way to flee. Even as I prepare my escape, I can see her taking in everything about me: the stolen blanket, the makeshift pillow, my generally disheveled appearance. She opens her mouth, and I brace myself for a verbal attack that's sure to come.
Hello there. May I ask why you're sleeping on the floor?
It's comfy.
Oh,
It doesn't matter what I say. Just distract her enough to get away.
Pause for a little bit. I have 0
Oh,
on OBS.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Take a little
boy.
breather. I don't know if it's gonna like. It happened last night too, but it like came back really quickly.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully it'll be back soon.
Yeah, I could tell from like the stream, like the Discord stream, like chugging a little bit.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it'll come back. Like it's bouncing back.
Okay.
I'm just gonna wait till it turns green though.
Okay.
But how's your voice doing, 1010? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I forgot how much Miho talks in the fucking start.
Yeah, now you know how I feel. Whenever we do anything. Oh, look, it looks like it's back.
Okay.
Alright.
I don't have anywhere else to sleep.
I thought so.
She leans down and offers me a hand. I look at it warily. I was like, what the fuck? Why isn't there reading? I take it. I don't take it, but I slowly stand, letting the blanket fall to my feet and trying to subtly get into position to run.
Well, I have an extra room on the second floor that you're welcome to borrow if you'd prefer that. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to remain here on the ground. I apologize for waking you.
With a smile, the oddly calm woman steps away and busies herself organizing another row of books. She probably expects me to let my guard down and take her offer. I'm just a stranger, someone who broke into her library. There's no reason for her to treat me kindly. My years of experience, and there are plenty of those, tell me it's a trap. It's a trap.
Trap.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'll just be going, actually. Sorry to bother you like this. I hurry past her, shoulders tense as I expect her to grab at me or try to stop me. She doesn't, though. The one time I glance back, she watches me with a strange expression that I don't recognize. When I get outside and away from the library, I breathe a sigh of relief. That was close. I'm not falling for that one again. The last time I let someone feel sorry for me and accepted a place to stay, I woke up for them trying to empty my wallet. I may be a thief, but at least I do it honestly. I don't want to try to trick someone like that. That wasn't the first time someone tried to fool me and take advantage of me either. Still, it's such a shame to lose such a nice hiding place. Maybe I'll give it a couple days for that woman to forget about me, and then try again. If she wasn't lying about there being an empty room on the second floor, then maybe I could sneak into there. Tonight, though, I'm on my own. Shivering, I wrap my coat and tail down tightly around myself as I think about what to do next. The rain has stopped, although it's still cold and cloudy. My stomach grumbles since I haven't eaten anything other than snacks all day. Bleh. Eto.
Bleh.
I may as well get over it and go check the status of my den. Well, it could be worse. It's not as bad as I expected, which is a pleasant surprise. What's a little mud? I'll be just fine. I swap to my fox form to prod around. The entrance has caved in a little, but after I scoop that out, I find the rest of my tunnels and my main room are relatively intact. Cold as hell, but intact. Seems the trees protected the den from a lot of the rain. It takes me a while to find the spot where I buried my stash, since the stack I used to mark the spot got washed away. Ellipses. Double ellipses.
Oh no.
Eventually, I locate it, though, and start digging. The cold mud makes my paws dirty and sore, and little flecks cover my fur. After I finally reach the soggy plastic bags, I shake myself clean before opening them as a human. Some water has seeped through, and I opened the spoiled items before tossing them away. I'm not too picky, but I have plenty of other snacks to choose from. Eat up, birdies. A few of them swoop down to inspect. Whoa! Holy shit! Whoa! That's a big one. And it has no feet.
Oh.
Oh. Damn.
This is disgusting. Oh no.
Oh no.
No.
It sounds like a bird that has like 36,000 views on 2 different videos.
Oh my
on her
god,
YouTube.
shut up.
I scarfed out a quick meal of cookies and an unwarmed soup along with some cold water from the stream. At least the water is satisfying.
The bird is sick.
Then, even though I woke up not too long ago, I shift back into my fox form and crawl into my den and curl up. She's like me for real, for real. I'm sure it'll be a while before I fall asleep, but I don't feel like going back into town. I had enough excitement for one day. This isn't all that bad. Regular foxes without magic powers have it way worse than I do. Although back when I was when a fox was all I was, I wouldn't have really cared. To this day, I'm not sure what it is that makes me different. I used to be just like them. No desire to go beyond the forest or anything. And then one day, I became whatever I am now. All I had was my necklace, a small scroll that I can't read, and the memory of the person who had given it to me. They were so kind to me that stranger in the forest, they wished me well, even though I was just an ordinary fox. Somehow, that didn't seem to matter to them. I didn't even know their name, just their face and their voice. But I know that I'll recognize them when I see them again. It's just a matter of finding them. Since then, I've been looking and surviving. Looking for them is what keeps me going. It's enough to live for. If I wasn't, I don't know what else I'd be doing. I guess I'd just be surviving, but if that was the only thing, I think I'd rather have just stayed a fox. Standing outside my den in human form, I take stock of how things stand. The sun's thankfully out this morning, but everything remains damp from the ground to the muggy air itself. It's a Tuesday. The chill and the breeze is the worst, making me shiver every time it hits me. The Bell House was pleasant when I visited a couple days ago, so I decided to head down towards the main street and get a coffee while I'm working out my next moves. Coming out the door of the Cafe Enchanté, I pause and wipe my feet at the mat outside. The human fascination with surrounding themselves in concrete makes a little more sense as I work the mud off my feet. With that, I finally head inside, only to stop in my tracks as the door shuts behind me. Standing behind the counter is the same girl who I saw reading in the library yesterday, talking with a customer as she takes their order. That gentle aura about her is unmistakable. The person in front of me finishes their order and I step up to the counter.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bell House. What can I make for you today?
Oh, hi, I'll have a vanilla latte? No, that's boring, glares at Matcha. What do you recommend? I want to try something new.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I was just thinking that you look like the sort of person who would enjoy one of our fairy kiss chillers. It's one of our signature drinks, with a vanilla gelato base and a mint chocolate chip swirl.
I was planning to get something warm, but that does sound pretty good. Okay, give me one of those then.
Perfect. And could I get your name, please?
It's Miho. She scribbles something onto a cup and finishes it with a big flourish. I was waiting for Nur again.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll have that right out for you.
Thanks. I pay and then go to the same seat as before, next to one of the windows. It's pretty empty in here again, so I can sit wherever I want. Before the barista starts making my drink, I spot her writing something else down in a little notebook. She glances my way once or twice while she does, but I pretend not to notice. I wonder what it is. The barista yesterday didn't write anything down. Anyway, I got more important things on my mind. I mull over the plan which formed as I walked here, becoming increasingly happy with it. Tonight, I've already decided I'm going to sneak back into that library. Between that picture frame and some of the other trinkets I saw, I should be able to pilfer enough to fund my next few days in Wellington. Finding somewhere to sell it should be the easy part. I've got about a dozen excuses that I can recite about where the items come from. Dead grandpa, spring cleaning, new renovations, 2 milk. Sometimes I try extra hard to pretend that the things I'm selling are really special to me, and earn a bit more cash that way. Sometimes I just take whatever they give me. After years of watching other humans do it and trying it out myself, I've got good at pawning items off. She's a pawn star. I find myself idly watching the barista make my drink. While I do, I practice a disarming smile. All of her moves are quick and practiced, but she has that same faraway look in her eyes that I noticed yesterday. She looks up and our eyes meet. I don't look away, and she turns pink before ducking away behind a machine, out of sight.
Oh, they gay. Oh, them bitches gay.
Weird girl. I turn my head around to look around the cafe, and a butterfly outside catches my attention, so I watch that instead. Miho's also kind of dumb. It flutters back and forth, landing on a flower and resting its wings.
You know, you did tell me that she was a kleptomaniac too.
Miho?
Oh, my coffee's ready. I quickly get up and skip over to the counter. Not stealing anything.
Whoa.
Cup in hand, she starts to head over and give it to me. But then several things happen at once.
Oh no.
One of the little tassels on the pocket of her apron catches on one of the drawers behind the counter, and she jerks to a stop, eyes wide open with surprise. And my drink tumbles out of her hand, landing on the counter with a wet gloop. sound as the ice cream splats against it, sending mint green rivers of coffee everywhere. A few seconds pass where we just look at each other, neither of us quite sure what to do, and then she takes a deep breath.
I'm so sorry. I'll make you a replacement right away. Just give me 1 second. I'll have that ready for you.
Her words spell out faster than the beverage, making it hard to even understand what she's saying. Her face is bright red as she spins back around and grabs another empty cup. Then she stops, hands hovering awkwardly.
Wait, I should clean this up before it dries and starts to go bad.
She hurries back to the mess, wiping at it with some napkins. She mops up as much of it as she can with one hand, then leaves the soggy paper on the counter while she starts to remake my drink.
I'm really sorry. This is such an embarrassment.
I don't even know if she's talking to me or herself. I freeze up for a second, looking at the appropriate response to an apology. I'm not used to people apologizing to me. Oh, it's fine. I'm not in a hurry. Instead, I sit back down at one of the tables and watch. She makes the drink twice as fast and then carries it very slowly to the counter, setting it down in a clean spot. This time, she takes a deep breath before speaking, like she's afraid she's gonna mess that up too.
All right, here's your drink. Again, I'm very sorry. This is your first time here, isn't it? I hope I didn't leave a bad impression.
Second, actually. Yesterday was my first time. How'd you know?
I make an effort to remember as many of our customers as I can, as well as their favorite orders. I believe you can learn a lot about a person from how they drink their coffee.
Well, that's too bad for her, because she won't remember me at all next time. I take a big sip of the drink she made for me. It's creamy and rich and sweet all at the same time. Whoa, this is really good. It's kind of like a milkshake, but not. It's not like coffee either.
Yes, exactly. I'm very glad that you like it. It's one of my favorite beverages that we serve. In fact, the recipe was my idea.
Whoa, they should put you in charge of all the recipes.
Oh my god.
They're marigolds!
The peonies one.
God, I think she's right.
Oh.
They are marigolds.
I may not know my flowers,
but I know a bitch when I see one.
She smiled again. Seems like she's gotten over the crisis of the spilled drink already.
Thank you. I'll make you another one of my favorites next time, if you'd like.
Totally. At least I know what to order next time, even though I'll have been forgotten. I'm already thinking of this place as my go-to coffee shop, especially since it's in a convenient area. With tasty drinks and cute baristas, I don't have a reason to go anywhere else. A knocking sound from the employee area gets both of our attention. Hey Aspen, can you start another batch of croissants?
Oh, sure. I'll be right there.
Also,
What's so? She calls back over her shoulder and then looks back at me briefly.
Have a nice day, Miho.
You too. With a wave, she gathers the trash from the cleanup and throws that away before disappearing into the back. So her name is Aspen. That's a pretty name. I'll have to try to remember that. Getting up from my seat, I decide to head back outside for some fresh air, sipping a fairy kiss chiller as I go. I head out the door and onto the increasingly busy street. I already know my plans for tonight, but I still got some time to kill before then. What should I do?
oh, we got choices to do.
All right, chat.
Oh
So,
god.
Oh my god.
Oh my
there are
goodness.
choices.
Yeah, we have 4 choices. We have-
Oh,
Oh,
Check has
check.
grabbed
Where
our
are we going?
controller.
We can go to
Are
Mount
we-
Victoria, Cuba Street, the Den, or Oriental Bay. Where are we going? We're going to check these Cassandra Torn Minotaur VTuber who streams a variety of days in a variety of ways.
What?
Cuba. Cool.
Cuba. We'll just
They
say
say the
we're from
perp always
Canada.
returns to the scene of the crime, so I head back to the main streets. By the looks of it, the store I swiped from is the same as always. The person sweeping to the front of the store doesn't even seem a little bit stressed. I never steal enough for it to be noticeable, but it's always a point of pride when the place looks the same as always the next day. A smug smile creeps across my
The
face as I
ransom
pass
has
by,
been
snacking on the
paid.
chocolate
Your
bar took from their
files
shelves.
are now deleted.
Thank you, Lars, for the hundo bits.
Whew.
Oh, well, where are we going next?
Our time in Cuba has been short.
A very
But a good
short-lived
time.
journey to Cuba.
Right, to know anything with a clock advances the time.
Oh, okay. Can we just go to the den then? Because it's
Yeah, we
free?
can go to the den for extra scene, yeah.
Yeah. Yahoo.
And I guess check and pick a clock choice.
Yeah.
Without much else to do to pass the time, I head back to my den. It's not the best place to hang around, honestly, but it's comfortable enough. Look around the small area, I shift back to my usual form. What? If I have to kill some time, I must have some fun while I'm at it. Ellipses. A couple hours later, I have my fill of chasing butterflies and snacking on mushrooms. Okay, time to get back to it.
All right, check. Do you want to go to Mount Victoria or Oriental Bay? Since your last choice didn't really do much.
Yeah. There's also character heads next to them.
The bay.
Oh boy. The bay.
The bay?
It's not far from where I am to the beach, so I decide to head down there. Passing through the city streets, I recognize some of the area from my first day here. When I was running from the Sky Fort guard. Shush.
First die.
Glad that guard chased me in this direction, or I never had found the Bell House. And really, that's been the highlight of Wellington so far. When I get down to the beach, I take a moment to enjoy the salty sea air. From this level, it's possible to tell where the ocean ends and where the sky begins. I can see the sky part from where I am, where a few older ships anchored in the harbor close by. While I'm admiring the view, a worried-looking lady comes up and waves for my attention. This is Gwen. I think her name is.
Is who?
Hi,
Oh.
I'm looking for my son. He is about this tall and wearing a red sweater. His name's Tommy. Have you seen him?
Nope, I haven't seen anyone like that. I just got here.
Okay, thanks.
She walks away in a hurry, looking right and left as she goes to ask someone else. Humans sure do have it rough. Since they can't smell or even hear most things, it's a wonder they don't get lost more often. I amble along the waterfront, watching all the people as I go. Like Cuba Street, there's a lot going on. Under a nearby bridge, a group of 3 mermaids are racing each other. Close to the bridge are a bunch of people fishing, with a stressed-looking guy running back and forth between them. Next to the boarded-up market stall and some big crates, I notice something weird. There's a fabled with a big flower on their head that spins like a propeller. They're using it to drift in a small circle above something near the crates. I have to check it out, of course. Nobody else pays attention. I wander over and take a look. The fabled stops spinning as I approach and gives me a helpless look but doesn't say anything. On the other side of the crates, out the side of the path, there's a little boy sitting on the ground with his back to one of the wooden boxes. Are you Tommy? The kid jumps, totally surprised. Oops. He scrambles up and looks at me with wide open eyes.
How did you know?
Okay.
Oh, this boy with their puberty early.
Your mom's looking for you. You also have a really deep voice, kid. She seemed pretty worried. His expression goes from surprise to sullen real quick.
I don't care. I don't want to go with her.
Why not? Why are you over here instead?
She wants me to eat my vegetables, so I'm hiding.
Oh. Okay. It's a pretty crummy hiding spot. I mean, it's totally open on 3 sides. I don't say that, though. Instead, I look up at the fabled floating overhead. It almost looks as glum as Tommy. Who's that?
That's Jerby. You mean you can see him?
I can. Is that weird?
Yeah, you're super weird.
Uh,
Mom and Dad can't see him. They think that I'm just making him up. He doesn't really talk, but like he's definitely real.
Gerby wakes up from up high. Waves from up high. He kinda gave away your hiding spot. I saw him from the road.
Mom can't see him. That's all that matters.
Why are you hiding from her?
'Cause she wants me to eat my vegetables, I told you earlier.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Tommy sits back down and scratches at the dirt with a rock. Guess he doesn't want to talk about it. I'm always glad to end a conversation. Well, good luck.
Not my problem.
I start to walk away. He doesn't seem like he's in any danger, and I don't want to get blamed for him hiding in the first place.
Hey, wait a minute.
I turn around. He's already standing up again.
Are you gonna tell her where I am? Are you a snitch?
Before I get an answer, his eyes get huge again. Look, I'm not a narc.
Are you sure?
Tommy, there you are.
I have to turn around again. This time, it's the woman from before. She's already flying past me over to Tommy.
Flying.
Are you okay? What were you doing? Don't you ever run off like that again. Oh, I'm just so glad you're safe, though.
Her voice goes up and down between relieved and angry. She has Tommy in a tight hug, but he's just staring forward grumpily. Gerby is flying in just circles again. Finally, the lady turns to me.
Oh, you found him, right? I guess I should have told you about his voice. That's like, a good way to find him. Thank you so much. I was so worried.
No problem. I didn't really do anything. I did find him, but so did she. Guess she's not thinking about it much.
Come on, Tommy, let's go home. We'll talk about this there.
No, I'm not going. That is not my home.
My ears flinch as he yells. He stamps his foot on the ground to make his point.
Tommy, sweetie, please, you're breaking the sound barrier.
Home is where it is you and me and Dad, not that apartment.
Oh God, here he goes again. Look, that's still your home too, but this is like your second home now.
No, it is not. Not without you, it is not. Dearest mother, do you and Dad really have to...
Oh, Tommy!
Tommy, who is already sniffling and breaking the sound barrier, can't keep from breaking down on the light barrier and crying as he throws his arms all around his mom and hugs her back.
I don't want you to go, Mother.
I get the impression that I should probably leave. Normally, I'm happy to be nosy and listen in on things, but right now seems kind of awkward.
Wow.
None of the humans notice me leave, but Gerby and the Fable sadly waves goodbye as I head off. I wonder what makes him stick around. I never seen a Fable like him before. Not being able to be seen by certain people sure sounds useful, though. Fucking klepto. I don't have to go far before the sounds of Tommy's sound-breaking voice and his mom talking her down by the noise of the waterfront.
Mother, no!
I easily fit into the crowd of people milling about. Being able to live a life that no one notices enough to be and close enough to being invisible. I'm pretty lucky that I don't ever have to have those kinds of tearful conversations or panic about someone missing or having a deep voice like that. No, being part of the crowd is just perfect for me. I stand at the concrete and admire the ocean until I had my fill, and then I start wandering again. I wonder where we will go next.
Oh,
we will.
It's just Mount Victoria.
We could. There's our only option. Okay.
Yeah. Teehee. I have plenty of time to kill and also plenty of restless energy. I decided to go up for a walk up Mount Victoria just to give myself something to do. I take the long way this time instead of taking a bunch of shortcuts like usual.
Man, I wish I had the time to just go hike a mountain.
Yeah.
It winds through neighborhoods and then back out again, with only the occasional car passing by on the street. Oh, and there's Matcha, walking up the
Whoa.
mountain.
What?
Compared to some of the other cities I've been in lately, the air here is a lot cleaner, and the smell of nature shines through. It can't compare to being out in the wild for real, of course, but it's nice not to be choking on exhaust fumes everywhere I go. The houses are weird though. Many of them sit up on tall legs like giant bugs with windows for eyes. More people seem to be coming down the mountain than going up it. Lots of them zip past on bikes or skateboards, while others are jogging or just walking. This path is longer than I thought. About halfway up or so, there's a wooden bench just off the sidewalk. It's occupied by a man with dark hair and big sunglasses. As I'm about to pass by, he waves.
Why, hello, miss. Nice seeing you for a walk, eh?
Huh? Is he talking to me? He must be, because there's no one else nearby. Chatting's usually not my thing, but for the moment, I appreciate the distraction. It sure is. I'm glad the rain's gone.
Oh, for now, yeah. It's never gone for long, though, is it?
That's so. I'm new here. I didn't even think it would rain, since it was so sunny the day before.
Oh, you gotta watch out for that around here. Nature's real fickle these days. One minute you're on the pier enjoying the sunshine. Next minute...
He makes a whoosh sound with his breath and a wavy motion with his hand.
Whoosh! Storm clouds as far as the eye can see. That's just welly for you, though. You live with the sunshine and the clouds. Where are you from, then? Guessing you're not a Kiwi.
Nah, I'm a fox, not a bird. The man laughs, a deep belly laugh. Like usual, I'm not sure what I said was funny.
Not like that. Although those little guys are cute, Kiwi is a word for us New Zealanders in general.
So it's a bird, a fruit, and people.
You got it. All three are delightful. Anyway, welcome to Wellington. I hope you're enjoying your time here in our little city.
So far I am. I made my den here on the mountain. I got a coffee a few times, and I went to the library. I conveniently leave out my plans for the next time at the library, and all my stealing.
Can't say that's the usual tourist experience. Sounds kind of like cottagecore-ish, but like not, like adjacent. But I'm happy to hear that it's working out for you. Staying long?
Probably. I decided to come live here, but I'm still getting to know the place, so maybe I'll change my mind.
A true free spirit, eh? I felt the same way when I first got here a long time ago. Didn't think I'd settle down for life, but here I am now. Lived more years here than everywhere else in my life.
It can't be that long. You don't look very old for a human.
No? Oh, well, that's my ego boost for the day. You don't look very old for a fox either, but I imagine you got a good head start on me. What are you, like 1,000?
That's true. Glares. I don't really keep track or think about it, though. I don't think a lot. He laughs again.
Got you. True free spirit, eh? Can't say I blame you there. I think 100 years, give or take a little on either side, is enough for me. And I'm only halfway there, so I've got plenty more to look forward to.
He stands up, but he has to do it slowly.
What? Guess it's time to mosey on. And sometimes I'm reminded of how many I've already got under my belt. Thanks for the chat, miss. I better get back to the water now and make sure Youngman hasn't fallen into the ocean or anything. That'd suck. It's been a real pleasure talking with you, though. I hope you'll give our town a fair shot.
Thanks. It was nice talking to you, too. And I mean that for once. He waves goodbye as he heads down some stone steps, and I keep heading upwards. I never really thought about my age compared to a human's. Humans don't matter to my lifestyle. I wasn't lying when I said I don't know how old I am. It's never been important. Places, relationships, memories, they just tie people down, man. I want to be everywhere.
Yeah, man.
When I reach the top of the mountain, I take a deep breath of the crisp air. Wind blows my hair in every direction, and I can't keep it out of my face. The wind is wild and goes where it wants. It doesn't answer to anyone. That's how I live my life, too. A free spirit. That's what the man called me, and I like the sound of it. I can see the smudges of a few people by the beach and on the pier. Is one of the man I just met? There's no way to know. From up here, there's just tiny little blips. It's possible to tell apart from each other. Once I've had my fill of the view, it's time to get on my way again. I turn my back on the people and start making my way down once more.
We're going to the library.
The
No!
library.
Library.
There's also a list on the left that grays out all the choices.
I know, but I want to tap the icons. Funny little pictures.
Funny pictures. When the moon is high in the sky, it's Sailor Moon time.
Damn, I'm so high, bro.
Fighting evil by moonlight.
Moonlight.
Winning love by daylight.
Daylight. Anyways, I decide it's time.
It's the one called Sailor Moon.
This is the perfect kind of night for me. There's not much wind, meaning I'll be able to hear or smell anyone approaching. It's a little cloudy too, which gives me some cover from the moonlight. Oh god. I make my way back up to the library, stopping as soon as I'm within sight of it. I find a shadowy place to hide and watch the front for a few minutes. Like I hope, nobody goes in and out. All the windows are dark too. I slowly creep up towards the entrance, ready to transform and flee if I have to.
Yeah.
Nothing happens, no one tries to stop me. I peek into one of the windows. It's dark inside, and I can't see anyone at all. Perfect. I move around the back side of the building and check those windows too. Same thing. It's dark and empty. This is gonna be too easy. Back at the front door, I pick the lock and slip inside. I sneak from room to room, revisiting the items I memorized yesterday. They're not expensive or fancy enough to think of them as treasures. I end up leaving a lot of them alone since I don't want to carry too much with me. The rest go into my coat pockets. Finally, I end up back at the painting in the corner, the piece that started this whole plan. I have to set a couple things down on the floor because the painting needs both hands for me to lift it. It's heavier than it looks, though it's not very big. That's probably a good sign for how much it'll be worth. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I have to jiggle it a couple times to get it off the hook, but I manage. Wiggle, wiggle. Tucking the painting under one arm, I pick up the other goods from the floor. This should be enough for one night. Best to get in and out quick. I start to head back to the front door where I came in. Before I get there, light floods the room.
No.
My heart starts to race as I immediately prepare to run. A quick glance over my shoulder shows the woman from last night standing at the top of the stairs. Her eyes are glowing blue with anger. She takes a step forward, not seeming to touch the stairs.
Leave that painting alone.
I gotta get out of here, now! Throwing caution to the wind, I clutch my spoils tight and charge for the door, trying to make myself as small a target as possible. The painting is too big for me to transform and still hold on to it, so I gotta do this on two legs.
Stop, please.
I don't stop. Just like my arrival here with the guards at the skyport, the thrill of being chased has already taken over. It's excited and scary at the same time, but either way, it spurs me to move faster. Using my shoulder, I crash out the front door into the night. I run as quickly as I can, keeping an eye out for patches of slick mud or puddles of water. The path I take goes far past Mount Victoria and my den, ending up in a small residential area. I stash the painting under a parked car and then take my fox form and crawl into her house, upsetting a mean gray cat who's already there. Meow. It makes a low growling sound and I glare at it, desperately willing to be silent before it gives away my position. I growl back as best as I can, and that seems to scare it into shutting up. Ellipses.
Oh.
I'm not sure if I was being followed or not, but I don't want to take any chances. After 10 minutes though, I climb out, pick up my loot, and sneak back towards my den. Now that the excitement has worn off, I can't keep a smile off my face. There's nothing more satisfying than pulling off a heist, even one as easy as this. Other thieves I've heard about must have had it rough, having to stake out a place for a long time, trying really hard not to get caught, and making sure not to be seen. I've never done much planning, I just do whatever feels right. My ability to transform makes it pretty hard to catch me, although Although I have had to leave behind stuff I was taking once or twice, God. And honestly, it would get boring if I never got caught and had to run. My good mood lasts me all the way home, and it disappears completely when I see who's waiting for me. The woman in white. She stands just outside my den, looking like she doesn't care at all about the cold or the mud. In fact, her perfect clothes don't seem to get dirty at all. With her back turned to me, she's staring up at the moon, but she faces me as I approach. She has that same calm presence as when I first saw her, but I can see a mournful look in her eyes, which have gone back to brown instead of a furious blue. My heart quickens, almost suffocatingly, as she watches me intently. I know how quickly calm can turn into anger. I should run, but I can't look away. How did you even find me before I even got back?
A friend of mine told me you might be found here.
Her voice is soft and warm, unlike the way she shouted back at the library. A friend. A who? I wasn't followed, I'm sure of that much. With the shock of being found wearing off, the realization I'll need to find a new place to stay sets in. After all that work, too.
I apologize for showing up uninvited. I'm here to ask that you please return that painting to me. You may keep the frame if you'd like, but the painting itself is very dear to me.
I look down at the portrait. I've been carrying it for a while now, but I haven't given the picture itself much thought. It's a beautiful painting, and clearly very old. The girl shown in it is wearing a long, flowing dress, looking down with a small smile.
And also,
She breathes out slowly, and my eyes narrow. It's the sound people make when they're acting calm, but they're angry.
should you want it, I have an extra room available in my library with a soft bed and a warm meal. You may stay as long as you wish.
Huh? After I just tried to rob her, she's offering me a place to stay? Okay, now I know this must be a trap. There's no way. Although... it's the same thing she asked me last night before I broke in. I'm sure she doesn't remember that. Why?
Because I have more beds than I could possibly fill and more food than I could eat. If there is someone who wants or needs them, is it not appropriate to share these things with them?
Is it? I'm not sure what answers she wants to hear. She looks at me again, the same expression as it was at the library. Well, her offer does sound kind of tempting. I guess it's not like my place is as nice as yours. Not anymore, at least. Not after it rained and made half of it mud. I look down at the painting again. If I sold it, it was just gonna be so I could buy the same thing she's offering me. I still don't trust her. I've watched people enough to know better than that. There must be something else she wants. But I don't think she wants to hurt me. She knows I don't have anything worth stealing. If she did try to pull something, I could just run away. It's only one night. I can come back and try again, or find someplace else to fake from. I look down in the burrow, past where she's standing it. It looks less like a den and more like a pile of mud. The thought of sleeping there again practically makes the decision for me. Fine, I'll take it. She breathes out slowly again and smiles. Maybe that sound doesn't mean she's angry?
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, I should introduce myself properly. My name's Juliet. I ask what is yours?
Miho. I had to introduce myself twice in a day now. That has to be a new record.
Well, Miho, it's quite a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Let's return to the library. I can carry the painting if you'd like, or you may hold on to it until we get there.
I shrug. Here, feel free. She receives it very gently, and I quickly fall in beside her as we begin to walk back. To my relief, she doesn't try to make any conversation. Instead, she silently cradles the painting as we go. When we get back to the library, the lights are off and the door is still unlocked.
The
After
ransom
setting the
has
painting
been
down at the
paid.
desk,
Your
Juliet gestures
files
towards the
are
stairs.
now deleted.
Thank you for the another hundo biddies, LRS.
It's on the second floor.
I follow her lead again until she stops at one of the closed doors. She unlocks it and lets me in. The room is simple and cozy with a couple of dressers, a table, and a bed. Over the bed, there's a boxy window where a wide sill big enough to sit on. On the table, there's a cheese sandwich on a few apple slices, plus some sort of cake. There's also a pitcher of water.
I hope the food is to your liking. 2 rooms down the hall from here, you'll find a refrigerator, and you may help yourself to anything in there. My study is just past that. If you need anything, don't hesitate to come find me. Is there anything more I can bring for you?
I shake my head, still in disbelief. What am I even supposed to say in a situation like this? I just stole from her and now have both a bed and food in return. As if to answer my confusion, she gives a calm smile. It doesn't help.
Then I'll leave you to it. We can speak again in the morning. Good night, Miho.
The door shuts behind her, and I expect to hear Juliet lock it. But when I try the knob after giving it a few moments, the door opens quietly into the dark hall. Juliet's nowhere to be seen. I pull the door back shut behind me and inspect the room, looking for any hidden threats. I also check the food, sniffing it to make sure there's no poison or anything. If there is, I can't smell it, and so I dig in instead. Whoa, this is really good. There's 3 kinds of cheese in the sandwich, which is 2 more kinds than I knew existed. The bread is soft and buttery, and when I take a bite of the apple, juice rolls down my chin. The water I wash down with tastes better than the water from the stream by my den. When I'm done eating, I climb into the bed, still feeling overwhelmed, more specifically, not knowing how to feel. Part of me fears that I made some gigantic mistake, and that I'll wake up in danger. If I ever wake up at all, trusting my instincts has kept me alive on multiple occasions for hundreds of years. Enough that I've lost count of exactly how many. But something tells me that I don't have anything to fear from the woman who I can only assume is my host and the owner of this place. So with that in mind, I pull up the blankets up to my chin and adjust the luxurious pillows beneath my head. Who knows, maybe the morning will bring trouble with it. But right now, just sleeping sounds alright. I wake up to the sound of birds chirping loudly outside. Oh god, there's the one that has no legs again.
Hi,
Oh, it talks.
this is me.
Oh,
Do you have any
Blinking-
rotten food?
no.
Oh, shit, I gotta go.
Oh, okay. Bye. Blinking wearily, I prop myself and look toward the warm sunlight beaming through the window. The sheets under my hand and feel soft and dry. My hand goes to my neck, taking in the smooth familiarity of my necklace. It's still here. If someone was going to rob me, that's the only thing that I would have seemed valuable. I sit up and look around. It doesn't seem like anyone came in while I was asleep. Maybe I really am safe here. I wonder if Juliet's friend was the scent I noticed outside my den on the first morning. I don't know how else she would have found me, or how they did it without waking me up. And if it happened before, it could happen again, as much as I hate to admit it, so I check around the room very thoroughly, and still don't notice anything different from when I went to bed. Maybe it's not a trick. All my past experience have told me that it has to be a catch. Nothing is free. Nothing. But no matter how hard I try, I can't figure out what it could be. Could Juliet really have been telling the truth? It just seems so unlikely. It'd be nice if it was true. But if it wasn't, if I let myself believe only to be wrong in the end, then that would hurt even more, wouldn't it? No, better not to even take the risk. After all, I lived a lot of years this way. It's not like I hate it. Making up my mind helps me feel better right away, too. It just makes more sense. Even if I tried to stay, I don't think I'd ever stop worrying. This way, I know for sure that I'm in charge of my own destiny. Now that I know this room is unoccupied, I might be able to sneak back in sometimes when I need a place to stay. It wouldn't be too hard to climb on one of the trees and then get to the window from there. I take one last look around. For just a night, it was a nice what if. Then I head downstairs and out the door without speaking a word to anyone. It's another nice day, the same as when I first arrived to Wellington. Warm sun and blue skies with just a hint of clouds. For a while, I meander around town, eating the last of my pastries from the convenience store hall for breakfast. Today feels like another restart. I have no den, no supplies, no anything. I'm less excited now than I was when I first arrived. I don't have a destination in mind, but eventually end up at the waterfront. There's an airship over the bay, descending closer towards the skyport. A couple kids down the beach wave up at it, seeming excited. Oh god, one of them is Tommy.
Oh no.
The people arriving on that ship all have somewhere there that they're planning to go and get off, huh? They all got people waiting to see them. So what have I got? Some trash and an old scroll? So far, Wellington's given me nothing but questions. They never bothered me before in any of the other cities I've been to, so why now? Guess that's another question for the pile. I push myself off the railing and head back into town. I drove through the motions of scouting for somewhere to rebuild my den, but my heart really isn't in it. After wandering for a while, I end up at the Bell House yet again. It's just a place I go when I have nowhere else to go. There are more customers than usual, so there are 2 people working behind the counter. It only takes a brief glance to notice that one of them is Aspen. Aspen. I wonder if she'll think I'd like a fairy kiss chiller again, or maybe I'll make a different sort of impression today. The line moves pretty quickly. It helps that Aspen doesn't spill anything this time. When it's my turn to order, I step to the counter with a fake smile.
Hello. What can I make for you today?
I'll have a fairy kiss chiller, please.
Is there no choice?
I reach for my wallet to pay, but she stops me. I was waiting for Nura again.
Worry about it. It's on the house today.
Great. What does that mean?
It means that you don't have to pay for it. As an apology for yesterday.
Yesterday? Why does that sound so strange? I nearly miss her talking. My mind having tripped over the word. She reaches for a cup, a pen already in her hand.
And that's for Miho, right?
For Miho? My name? She remembers my name? My heart begins to race wildly, my body reacting just as strongly as my mind. Aspen frowns, clearly noticing that something's off. My head's in too much of a daze to deal with it, though.
Is Miho, right?
She checks the notebook on the counter, brow furrowing deeply as her finger slowly moves down the page and taps on one of the lines. What do I say? How do I explain? For the first time in my life, for the first time in hundreds of years, somebody's remembered my name. It's not supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be forgotten. Every time, without fail. It's my armor. It's my life. I take a step backwards. I have to run. I have to get out of here. I have to get away. But where to? I've just been running. And I don't have anywhere else to run to. I don't have any other choice without a plan or destination. I turn on my heel and bolt outside, not daring to look back. Everything is wrong. I have to go.
Miho?
She calls my name as I disappear into the street. It's not the first time I've heard that as I fled. But never like this. Never with such a confused, worried tone. Feeling sick to my stomach, I push myself to run even faster. Maybe I should just leave this whole city. Get on the next airship out of here and act like it never happened. I could go somewhere else, back to China, or America, or anywhere, and start over again. Maybe not America. Within days, I'd be like I never even came to Wellington. My life would go back to normal. Eventually, I'm just sure Aspen and Juliet would forget me, just like they're supposed to. Nothing would be different. Except that that's not quite true. I wouldn't forget what happened here, even if everyone else did. No matter what, I'm sure I won't ever be able to get these past few days out of my mind. When I get to Mount Victoria, I finally stop running. Not because this place is special or because I wanted to come here, but because I don't know where else I'd go. I make my way up to the top of the mountain, just like I did on my first day. The view, which I admired so much last time, doesn't do much for me now. Instead, the city looks cluttered and confused from up here. My chest hurts from running so long. I'm much more used to quick bursts of sprinting to get away from something or someone. I guess that's still what I'm trying to do right now. But I'm not too sure what that I'm running from. Whenever something goes wrong, my first instinct is to flee. Aspen remembering definitely counts as something wrong, but when I stop to think about why, some of the reasons are obvious. Mostly, what if it's just not Aspen? What if everybody can remember me now? Or even worse, what if people who forgot about me a long time ago start to remember me? Both could get me into a lot of trouble. My days as a thief would probably be over. There are some places where I could never show my face again. The smart thing to do is leave. I even see a couple airships at the skyport right now. I have everything with me. I could just go. There's nothing keeping me here. And yet, I don't move. I still don't know what it is I'd be running away from. From Aspen? From Wellington? When I think about it, I have to admit that running wouldn't get me anywhere. This worry, these questions would follow me wherever I go, no matter how far and no matter how long. So then, what do I do? The only answer I can think of is the scariest one, the one that goes against everything I've ever learned. Closing my eyes, I picture the library and Juliet's offer. I picture Aspen, whom I barely know, but who's already changed my life. Maybe I should stay and try to find out more. Maybe, just maybe, being remembered might not be all bad. I clench my fists so tightly my knuckles turn white. The urge to turn tail and head for the skyport is so strong. It's almost like a magnet pulling me there. I resist it though. Slowly, I walk back down the mountain, making my way to the library. I'm not sure what to say when I get there. Explain everything to Juliet and hope she'll let me stay in that room again? I don't even need the room. I could rebuild my den and hide out there, maybe in a new spot, one that Juliet doesn't know about. Not having to worry about the weather or other animals would be nice though. There's no telling if Juliet will remember me too. If not, it might be easier to pretend this is my first time visiting and just ask if there's anywhere I could stay. Even though I'm not moving very fast, I still don't feel ready for this conversation by the time I reach the library's entrance. It's only been an hour or so since I left the Bell House, so it's not too late enough for the library to be closed. The usual stream of people flows in and out the doors. Okay, I can do this. I have another drink. I stand off to the side to the entrance, preparing myself to pay as people pass to and fro. My heart is racing the same way as it did during the tense break-in, maybe even harder. My tail twitches back and forth. Usually I don't notice, but right now I'm super aware of everything about myself. Fighting off my instincts, I open the door and let myself inside. I've been expecting to look for Juliet, but instead she's right by the entrance. What surprises me most, however, is the woman leaning against the large desk beside her, Aspen, who's now engaged in conversation with a look of deep concern on her face.
Bedroom, I wish she would have spoken to me first, at least.
I barely catch the end of Juliet's sentence. She noticed me only moments after I spot her, and for a second later, her mouth forms a perfect O of surprise.
Juliet, what are you?
Aspen turns around to follow Juliet's gaze, her eyes opening wide at the sight of me.
Miho?
Miko!
My brain goes blank, rehearsed lines flying out of my head. Hey there. I slink over to where they're standing, hands in my pockets, unsure what I should say first.
It's nice to see you again, Miho. I was hoping that you'd return.
Phew, that was pretty sudden. I worked extra hard on that drink for you, you know.
I freeze up, looking for the words. Aspen's expression softens in concern.
Miho?
Oh, right, the drink. I'm sorry.
I went back to the thread again. We gotta pause again. Also, my computer's like acting a little weird right now.
No.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a little funky. I'm not sure what's happening.
Her.
It might be a. Oh, it's like okay. It's coming back.
Okay.
Well, not the.
Whoa.
It might be the game.
Oh,
Oh.
oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because when I tab into the game, all of a sudden my VTuber model starts slowing down. Everything around it starts slowing down.
Ooh.
That's weird. That's a weird one.
Hmm.
Because it's a visual novel. It shouldn't like do anything to my
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
Maybe save it?
I'm gonna save it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. We'll wait like a second before continuing, just because red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's like it looks like it's getting better. This is a
Okay.
weird problem though. I might restart my computer after stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alright, look. It like still says it's red, but the bit rate's fine. So I guess
Okay.
we'll keep going.
Weird.
It's really weird. It's a powerful visual novel, yeah. Alright. Leaky memory, maybe?
I don't believe
I don't
so.
think this game would have a memory leak.
No, not from what I remember when I was playing it for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
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 Soft concern.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Drink. I'm sorry.
Well, I ended up drinking it myself, so I suppose I can't complain too much.
She laughs, and I can't stop myself from blurting out my next words. You seem different.
I'm sorry?
Like, less polite?
Well, I'm not at work anymore, am I? Customer service.
What am I even saying? What was I planning on saying again?
Will you be staying for a while, Miho? If so, we can continue this conversation in the dining room. It's a bit more private there.
Julia takes charge of the conversation effortlessly, and I accidentally sigh in relief. Yeah, sure, that sounds great. I'm not gonna run away again.
I'm glad to hear that. Right this way, then.
Julia leads the way down the hall and into one of the locked rooms. We enter a cozy little room with a table and a few chairs, as well as a fridge. The three of us sit down, although I move my chair so I'm not so close to the others.
Can I get you anything to eat or drink, Miho?
I shake my head. I'm hungry, but I'm way too nervous to eat. Julia smiles in response to my answer, which came just a little too quickly to sound natural. By the way both she and Aspen are looking at me, I can tell they're expecting me to say something first. None of the words I planned are coming back to me. What do people even say in a situation like this? The temptation to run away is overwhelming, the door just a few feet behind me. My knuckles widen as I tightly clench my fists in my lap, pushing myself to resist the urge. I told myself that I'm going to take this chance, even if it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm going to be honest with them. Well, I struggle to think of what to say. Juliet waits patiently, her eyes gazing coolly in my direction more than directly at mine. Aspen soon grows restless, however, her expression clouded with concern. Sorry, I don't know how to just say things. I've only ever copied other people, so Aspen's expression clears up in some sort of understanding.
Okay. Take your time, Miho.
So I don't really know how to talk like this.
You're doing just fine.
If you say so. It's not just talking either. I don't know much about anything. Well, anything human. All I really know about is being a fox, and all foxes care about is how to survive. It might not be hard to believe, but I'm not a normal fox either. There's something kind of special about me. Kind of different. I finger the beads around my neck. Their constant warmth and presence is reassuring. I avoid looking at either Aspen or Juliet's face. What else? Usually I have to steal to get by. I don't just have to, I like to. I'm good at it too. That's how I ended up meeting Juliet. And the reason I'm so good at it is because I don't know why it happens, but ever since I got my human form, everyone forgets me. Even the people who catch me stealing from them. After a day or two, I could walk right past their face and they wouldn't even recognize me. No one has ever recognized me until Aspen remembered who I was at the Bell House. It was such a shock that I ran away. That's what I always do. I was thinking of leaving Wellington forever, even though I just arrived a couple days ago. I'm still kind of tempted, but instead, I came back here. And that's it. Just hearing the words coming out of my mouth makes me want to die of embarrassment. It makes me uncomfortable when other people think about me. And yet, putting everything out there feels surprisingly good. I feel like a weight has come off my shoulders. There's no going back now, and there's a relief in its own way.
So you're saying that you've never ever had a family? Or a friend?
Nope, never. Not since I stopped being a regular fox, at least.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Why?
Well, because that's not to be rude, but that sounds rather lonely to me.
Lonely, huh? I never thought about it before.
I see.
Aspen sits back, still looking concerned. From the way she keeps fidgeting, I get the impression she wants to say more, but it's holding back. Juliet swoops in to salvage the situation.
You have been very brave to stay here, Miho. I'm personally glad that you decided to come back to the library. I had your room prepared in hopes that you would. You're welcome to use it for as long as you'd like. I think that we could become great friends.
Friends. I rolled a word around in my mind as if it were a strange food I'm gingerly trying. Is that a word that fits me? Is that something I could have? It never seemed like a possibility before. None of what Juliet offered me has. Right now, it feels like I'm standing at the end of one path and the beginning of another. I could turn around and go back the way I came, back to the den and the life spent alone. I know that world. I lived in it for so many years. But I can't just go back. Not now. I want there can be something more, something new. Everything could be different if I just let it. When I look at Aspen and Juliet, I can tell what they're hoping I'll say. I think I'd like that. Big smiles taken over both of their faces.
Aww.
Oh.
Slowly, I let myself smile too.
Well then, Miho. Welcome home.
Aww. This is so cute.
My heart.
This is adorable.
It's adorable. Okay.
Chapter 2, A Life Worth Living. That's the end for
yeah.
this stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Gonna save.
Hard save.
And now
Yeah.
my computer's running perfectly fine. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. Like I might
Oh.
because when I booted it up from Steam, it gave me a lot of different options of like how I want to run it. Maybe I'll choose a different
Oh,
option next time.
yeah.
Because maybe it was like using the same resources as my VTuber model and was overloading it.
Mm.
Oh, that might make sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was what was happening. So like when it ran for too long, my VTuber model was like, hey buddy. Hey
What are
buddy.
you doing?
What are you doing over there? All right. Yeah, so I'll choose a different option next time. Like I just written the recommended, so I'm gonna go with the other options like include DirectX. So I might just use that next time.
Yeah.
The ransom has been
Because that's what I
paid.
use for Baldur's
Your
Gate.
files are
So-
now deleted.
with,
Okay,
with no
okay.
issues. So yeah, I'll just
Yahoo!
I'll bring out the Baldur's Gate option. But yeah, that was Please Be Happy. Thank you for the 100 biddies again, Alaris. You just always trickle me with different biddies. Thank you so much. But yeah, so we're gonna be playing this until we get to the end of a route. And we won't know when are we gonna find out the route we're on, 1010.
It is a literal choice at like chapter 3.
Oh, you just choose it outright.
Oh,
Yep, you just
Oh.
choose it. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
damn.
Oh, that makes things easy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So if you have a favorite, then line up and try and snipe the choice when we reach chapter 3. Get those channel points ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be back next week with more Please Be Happy. Please, if I forget, please remind me to use DirectX when booting up the game next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
totally.
Just tell me, boot it up like Baldur's Gate. I'll be sure thing, boss. We'll do.
It's Baldur's Gate. Look at it.
Why not both at once? Why not Baldur's Gate and Please Be Happy? Sure. Sure thing, boss. We'll romance multiple people at the same time. We don't even have to romance a Starian. We can romance girls. We just have an all girls time. But
Girls' night.
Girls' night.
Girls' night.
Girls' night. Romance a librarian or the other lady, and on the other screen you romance Carlock or something. All right, let me see who we're gonna raid. That was very, very cute though. I'm excited to
That was
see what happens next.
adorable.
Yeah.
How about tonight? We're gonna let me check how long she's been streaming. Vera Zara. Looks like she'll be going on for a little longer. So we're gonna rate the kaiju.
The kaiju.
Kaiju.
Yeah.
She is playing Jurassic World Evolution 2. So it's like dinosaurs.
Question mark? All right, Theozera.
Perfect lead in from Please Be Happy, the sweetest game in the world. Jurassic Park. Anyway, we'll see you next week for that. Everyone say bye.
Bye.
Bye.